just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Need more energy throughout the day? Looking for a kick to your workout? RockinThatIDLife.com has you covered with delicious flavors you've grown to love in tropical fruit and mixed berry, but now fall in love with the new fruit punch and orange flavors. Try them all at RockinThatIDLife.com.
Realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage LLC makes the moving process easier. Work with a realtor who plays and studies the game and will work as hard as the boys on the ice to get you the best deal. Check out Mike on the web at strikewithmike.com and jumpstart your move today. That's strikewithmike.com. Welcome to episode, what are we on? I don't even have the intro ready to go. What am I doing here?
401.
Episode 25. Episode 25, right, of season 11. This is episode number 401, all time, of the often imitated, never duplicated, there's shit everywhere. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. I kind of improv.
Literally.
I kind of improv. It was like from Dumb and Dumber 2, right?
Say he's speaking from experience, folks. More on that in a minute.
Yeah, we're in the bathroom scene, the Hershey bar. Anyway, we're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, RockinThatIDLife.com, StrikeWithMike.com, and CenterIceBrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. And also don't forget to check out the t-shirt shop at Let'sGoBlues.com for the very best St. Louis Blues themed t-shirts at a fair price. It is Wednesday, March 1st. I thought I didn't have the date in here. I thought, well, it's February something. Oh, no, it's not. It's a short month. It is March 1st. Wednesday, March 1st. And we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. To interact with the show on social media, our handles on all of the socials are at Let's Go Blues LGB Radio.
This is a rough start.
I've had half a beer and no food. So
Kurt will be re-recording the intro about 1 a.m. by himself and doing each of our voices.
It's going to sound glorious, too. My name is Kurt Price, and my co-hosts for the big show tonight are Bill Day and Jeff Ponder. The agenda for tonight's show includes, we got not going to talk a whole lot about the games the Blues have played, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about as far as trade rumors. We got Barbashev going to the Golden Knights. We got the Blues claiming Kapanen off of waivers from Pittsburgh. Sammy, Blay. We got Parayko rumors. Patrick Kane finally goes to New York. The Rangers aren't happy with Tarasenko, or the fans aren't.
Until tonight.
Until tonight. He did score. It just happened, right? In overtime?
Yeah, overtime winner.
Yep. Yeah. So, and then there's a bunch of trades that happened in the NHL that we'll kind of touch on and discuss and whatnot, all on the latest episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Sorry for the late start, guys. You live listeners, but we had some issues here, so we're good now, though.
I think the show is now over. That intro was the whole show, so
right,
we're done.
Bye, everybody. Will be the most entertaining part of the show.
Oh, that's sad. We're that bad?
I mean, no. We'll see. Hey, I'll tell you after the show. What's the best part of the show? Yeah, but I mean, if the show sucks, then if the intro is the best part of the show, that's pretty bad. You're right, because the intro was not great.
The way that I see it is
good.
The intro is never the best part of the show because Bill doesn't really talk during the intro. So
I'm working on that tonight, though.
Okay. All right.
I just let that go.
Like I said, I'm working on it.
I was going to say, I thought there was more to that, Bill, but I guess not.
It's a work in progress.
It's called comedic timing is what it's called.
That's right. Yep. And we all lack that. How was your week, boys?
Busy. Oh my God. I mean, I don't want to bore people with my troubles, but live in Illinois, right? People know this. I've said it before. not far from St. Louis, like 20 minutes from downtown. But went to IKEA over the weekend and ended up going to IKEA and back home and then back to IKEA all within the span of like an hour because
Why?
my daughter I bought my daughter a new bed. Okay, from IKEA. She wanted this particular bed with storage underneath. It's a nice bed. And so we go to pick it up a couple weeks ago, but they didn't have the headboard there. So we said, we'll come back and the headboard, we'll get the rest of it, then. And then they finally had the headboard in stock and some other stuff for the mattress to support it, so we could finish putting our bed together. Went back to get the rest of it, and we put the big box, which was the headboard, in the car, and we left the two pieces that were supposed to support the mattress on the curb there on the loading area at the IKEA. So didn't realize it until we got home. And so that was haven't felt that stupid in a long time. I'm gonna say, yeah. And then we had a toilet overflow situation on the next day, so that was fun.
Ooh,
my son comes upstairs and goes, he's downstairs, playing on his computer, gaming and stuff, and he hears this water pouring on the ceiling above him, and he comes up and goes, "Dad, I think we got a problem. There's water. I hear water downstairs." I run downstairs, and yeah, it sounds like a faucet is like pouring on top of the drywall in the ceiling in the basement. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh, yeah. So it was just, yeah. It ended up being okay. There was no damage that I could see, so we dried it out, got it taken care of. I don't know. That's been my weekend, and then with Dexter and his bowel issues today.
Yeah, Kurt's dog had a little bit of a bowel issues. That's why we're a little late. Part of the reason we're a little late today.
Yeah.
So unfortunate. It happens.
He's a big dog.
The pet owner. Yeah, the pet owner, that does happen.
And he's a big dog. And when big dogs have gastrointestinal issues, it's usually a big mess. And it was. Yep. So I've got a few beers here. I'm gonna tear through a few beers tonight.
That's fine. Hopefully Dexter's feeling better.
He seems fine. He's just, I'm gonna go shit on the floor.
I was telling you a story before about carpet? My dog from. Yeah, it was on the carpet.
Oh, if it wasn't carpet, it wouldn't have been a big deal,
Right.
If it was concrete or hardwood or something, it's easier to clean up. But yeah, carpet. Got to break out the shampooer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you a story about earlier a couple years ago. My dog, kind of similar, got his face into something in the backyard. I don't know what it was, and literally gave him 3 baths one morning because I couldn't get the smell to go away. So I get it, man. As a dog owner, unfortunately, that's just the life. But
you ever have
it does not make it easier.
You ever have a dog sprayed by a skunk?
Yes.
I had my dogs at my cousin's house and let them outside in the back. And there was I thought it was a big white fluffy cat. And I was like, oh no, there's a cat out here. It was at night. I'm like, oh shit, there's a cat out here. I'm like, oh, I hope I don't see him. And then my big black lab sees him and he runs over. This was years ago. And I'm like, and all of a sudden the tail goes up on the cat. And I'm like, oh, that's not a cat. That's an albino skunk. That's an all white skunk. Oh shit. And it was bad. It smelled so bad. I had to wash him a couple times with the hydrogen peroxide and the dish juice. Soap and tomato juice mixture thing.
Yeah.
Worked really well, actually. But that sucked.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for that day with where we live now.
It'll happen.
But yeah, well, we do have very active birds of prey. There's a barn owl that's been going nuts lately, and I've realized this morning I've got a hawk's nest in the tree right above my window, right outside, right here.
It's not a black hawk's nest, is it?
No.
Is it empty?
You don't have Jonathan Taves living up there?
Yeah. Well, he's probably he's got long COVID, so he's not playing, just sitting there watching TV.
Yep. I'm hoping one of my hockey teammates isn't listening because he made a joke to me on Sunday, so it's funny that we get this message. We're talking about a couple of guys were talking about my show and how they listen and how they're like, oh, you haven't listened to it, give it a try. And one of my teammates was like, I bet the other listeners are you guys and Jeff's mom. And here we go. One of the first comments we see here from Mary Ponder. Hi, guys. Hello, Mom. Yep. Oh, Mom, always appreciate you listening. Hope you enjoy the show. Hope I don't offend you too much with some of the language we use on the show, but it is funny to see that, and I hope my teammates not listening.
You're an adult. It actually, it's funny that the YouTube shows lately have been on the upswing. We've been getting a lot more views. So, and the trades and stuff have had a lot to do with that. So more people are interested.
Is it possible that we got more attractive, and that's why?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, at least Bill. I mean, look what Bill's wearing tonight. I mean, he's definitely the hottest guy on set tonight.
Bill's decked out in St. Louis City gear with the scarf and the hat. Had the shirt on, took the shirt off. You had a shirt on, right?
Yeah, I did. I had a pullover, but it's a little warm up in here. So, and I've got 2 kits over my shoulder.
He does.
So.
What a fantastic game! I almost want to ditch the Blues podcast and have a St. Louis City podcast right now.
Oh, that was
what a great game that was.
As I was telling Bill, my wife, and I think I mentioned on the show, she grew up playing soccer, played in college. So for her, it was actually really fun. She sees me with the Blues, and don't get me wrong, when the Blues won the Cup and the Cup final, the whole playoff run, any playoff run really, World Series for the Cardinals, she gets excited. But she doesn't get excited for regular season unless we're at the game. So Blues will score and she'll be sitting there on her phone, I'll fist pump. She doesn't care. No emotion. But man, Saturday night with SC, with the city team, oh God, she was losing her mind. And that was fun to see.
What do we call them for short? You call them City? SC?
It's City, right? I've been saying SC, but it's probably City.
Most cities.
It's probably
that
City,
have a
right?
Team that calls City, like Manchester City is Man City.
Man City.
Yeah.
STL City. What's the short? Right.
Yeah, I think it's
every time we refer to
it,
it can't be St. Louis City SC every time, right?
I will say,
let's just go City. It's got to be.
I stopped into Llewellyn's after the game, and I saw some people wearing City gear, and I said, "Hey, yeah, St. Louis City," and they all go CITY City, City, City. So I don't know if that's a real chant, but I imagine people are calling them City.
Well, I mean, if when they start losing games, I assume they'll lose their share, being expansion team and all. But I can see that chant turning into something vulgar. After if they have a bad season. shitty.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just do the Sean Connery saying city is what you do.
Shitty.
The official beers of episode number 401.
Hey, real quick. You missed the announcements.
Oh, I did. Well, I was going, I was going to, and you guys went off on a tangent and I forgot. So I blame you. Go ahead.
Okay. Just want to mention that trade deadline day is coming up Friday. Yep. We're going to talk about it, obviously, coming up here a lot for this whole show. Thank you, Austin. No. Austin says, because I was going to say that, I was going to let it slide.
No, Kurt just roll the tape back.
Austin
roll the tape
just dropped in our local chat.
It wasn't me.
No, Kurt, you went on a tangent about your fucking animals. Yes, thank you.
It wasn't me. Somebody else triggered that. I didn't start that.
Okay.
I think.
All right. So anyway, so we will probably, so I actually am off on Friday. So I thought, man, it'd be fun to have something going on. Usually trade deadline day, we do a Discord. Oh shit, Kurt, what's the is it letsgoblues.com/Discord?
/Discord. That'll get you where we're gonna go. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go in there usually noonish, 1-ish. Anyone who's off, welcome to join me in there. We'll be talking hockey. And then actually, if the Blues do anything, there's potential that we'll actually be doing a show Friday afternoon, about 2:00 when the deadline hits. So if there's any Blues moves at all or any kind of Blues rumblings, we may just go live, have a short show, talk about it. So if you have anything going on Friday afternoon, if you're sitting at work looking for something to listen to, 2:00, tune in on your YouTube station and YouTube station. I just said, wow, I sound like an old man. Turn on YouTube and we'll be going live talking about whatever happened with the Blues.
Get off your couch, go to the computer monitor and click, change the station. That's old. I remember that.
Yeah.
You youngins nowadays, you're like you and your remotes. Try growing up, we had to get off the couch and go turn a dial on the TV at like 4 stations to choose from. And the fifth one was like fuzzy as hell.
Yeah, I was my dad's remote.
Yep.
Our first remote had a telephone cord going from the remote to a cable box on top of the TV.
Yeah,
it wasn't even wireless. I mean, that was amazing. It was like 20-foot long cord, whatever. But that was fantastic just to be able to sit on the couch and change the channel. It looked like an old Texas Instruments calculator with big buttons, and then it had like a little tiny little LCD red and black screen show the number of the station.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into beer.
Yeah. Official beers of episode number 401. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My handle is CPrice12, Jeff's is JPonder94, and Bill's is Billy Blue Note 33. I don't want to go first anymore. This is a 6-game losing streak. We're losing all of our players. Somebody else go.
Jeff, it's you.
Yeah, I guess it's my turn. So tonight I am drinking out of my Blues Jameson mug. A little bit, probably my last of the season. I haven't found it in a while, but Fat Elvis Absence of Light is my beer of the show. So wanted something that would comfort me tonight, and this always does.
That's very nice. Very nice. I'll go second. I don't think I've ever gone second.
No, you've never been the middle child.
No, not in real life or on the show. I got a bunch of Bud Light oranges, and I didn't want to like drink like a bunch of like heavier beers. I figured if I'm gonna drink like 2 or 3, I'll just keep it simple. Bud Light orange, and I'm disappointed there's no Bud Light in the show chat right now. Haven't heard from him. That one show was funny. Bud Light showed up.
Well, now that you've shown that that's what you have, we can.
Right.
I think there's better chance they'll be here.
Right.
Apparently, if you say Bud Light on a podcast, it just shows up.
If I say it 3 times in a mirror, yeah, then Bud Light just magically appears in my fridge.
God, I wish that were true. I would love Bud Light a lot more.
There's Bud Light. All right. I think it's Austin. I can see the smirk on his face. Run a separate account. That's got to be trademark infringement or impersonating a beverage. This is like a crime.
We're gonna have to come up with a code of ethics for our producer role.
Yeah. Bud Light has chimed in the chat. Says, "Woo, definitely not Austin." Okay. Or it's Bill. Or it's Ponder.
It's not me.
Not me.
All right.
All right, Bill. What you
Chris
got?
Bray.
He has like 25 different YouTube monikers. So, I am having this guy, Black Ops Russian Imperial Stout, aged in 4 Roses small batch bourbon barrels. It's nice Imperial Stout. It's from Brooklyn Brewery. And it's okay. I'm still, I don't know. I don't know if this one's off or something. It's a little bit sour for an Imperial Stout.
You see the chat? Stag Beer has chimed in.
Oh my!
Wow.
Stag Beer has chimed in. Screw your Black Ops.
Black Ops.
It's gonna be winning unlimited with the multiple accounts. That's good stuff.
Or it's actually a Stag Beer typing on a computer.
It could be. It could be.
Yep.
All right. That's not. We know people on a cycling team that is called Black Ops, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
I would assume that they have heard of that beer, and if they don't drink that after a race, they're doing life wrong.
Yeah. Well, I know at least one of those people on that team would not drink that because they do not drink.
They do not drink
anymore.
I think he drank enough in his lifetime for a few lifetimes.
Yeah, I think so. It's like a 2-year period that he just took care of it all.
Yeah, he really did. There were shortages. All right. Excuse me. We'll discuss the Barbashev trade. to the Golden Knights. The Blues also picked up a player for waivers and some Parayko rumors on the other side of this break from our friends over at Rock and That ID Life. You're listening to Kurt, Bill, and Jeff on Let's Go Blues Radio.
Every beer league hockey night, I grab my hockey bag and sticks and throw them in the trunk of my car. And the very next thing I do, I mix up a boost of energy courtesy of RockinThatIDLife.com. It's formulated to break up its delivery in 3 ways, which helps me get through all 3 periods of hockey. Phase 1 provides a rapid onset of energy, concentration, alertness, and motivation. By period 2, I'm receiving a dose of sustained energy, increased focus, metabolism, cognitive function, performance, and feelings of well-being, which I need with the way I play. In Phase 3, I'm getting fatigue protection without jitters and crash, an elevated mood, and a reduction of fluid retention to help me make the big play when it counts. This same triphasic approach helps me when I drink it during work hours or simply just for a pick-me-up when I need it. Try one of the 4 energy flavors by visiting RockinThatIDLife.com, but make sure to email Dustin at RockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive an additional 10% off your order. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I didn't touch it.
I didn't either. What'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
Bill?
I didn't touch it. It started and stopped again.
No, Bill, you can't.
Austin,
we don't allow Bill.
Austin,
we don't allow Bill to control that.
Austin flipped off the entire show, and I'm like, "What? I didn't do anything."
Idiot.
And then he says, "Yeah." Then he says he did it.
Big boy did it. Big boy did it. Ivan Barbashev has been traded to the Golden Knights. Former first round pick, Zach Dean, which is a 2021 first round pick. Nice young prospect. Of course, never heard of him until his name was brought up. Not really, but better than a point per game player in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League the past 3 seasons. This season, he has 39 games played. He's got 24 goals, 27 assists, 51 points, and a plus 24 this season, which they project him to put up 66 points in 50 games.
And let's just put it like this, too. Prime candidate to do Dean Team commercials.
Dean, 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 Dean. I hate that commercial. They need a better jingle before they bring on Zach Dean. Dean, 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 Dean. But I remember it, right? So there are only 6 players left on the Blues roster from the 2019 Cup team. So the EliteProspects.com, a little rundown of Zach Dean. Dean plays at a breakout pace, stacking his skill as a handler and a passer on top of his skating ability to make plays without a moment's hesitation. His hands work independent of his feet. With his hands work independent of his feet. I'm glad that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird thing. I read that.
Every time I walk, I'm like,
yeah, right. like an old cartoon, like a 40s cartoon. That's a visual. You podcast people are missing out.
Yeah, sorry, podcasters.
His hands, with his top arm free from his side, pushed out well in front of him to grant him as much maneuverability as possible. If he get open, he'll get you the puck. It's just that simple. Another site rated him as a solid 2-way forward who plays the game with some physicality. He has a good shot and makes a lot of smart plays with the puck on his stick. He won't blow you away with skill, but has good touch on the puck and can find the best options easily. Dean plays the game competitively, battling, playing physical, and is unafraid to get in the forecheck or be the first man in the corners. He doesn't have remarkable size, but he's sturdy and strong. It sounds like the Blues have traded for Barbashev 2.0.
Yeah.
In a way. So
yeah. Very similar. Late first round. Barbashev was early second round. Both cut their teeth in the queue. And a lot of similarities there. Looking forward to seeing him very soon.
Yeah. He's well along in his development, so he could be called up at any time, really, I guess.
Well, not anytime. He's still in the queue, but
right. Well, right. True.
yeah, but we will. I love it because, I mean, a lot of people. I saw. Well, okay, I want to say a lot of people. Very few people were like, "What? You couldn't get a draft pick?" To me, this is better
It's
than
better.
a draft pick.
I think so.
Because you got a guy who's already ahead in his development, and he was a first-round pick, a guy that Vegas clearly thought highly of when they made the pick, and from all accounts, I haven't heard like, oh, he's fallen off in the Vegas favor. Like, no, this was a prospect. They thought, let's move him because we can get some help right now. And I mean, if this kid's ready in 2 to 3 years, I think that's about the timetable the Blues are planning on being competitive again, at least, semi-competitive. So I love this trade. You got, again, first of all, you got something for your UFA. Right there, that's fantastic. Second of all, you got a kid that, like you said, could be a Barbashev in 2 years. Put him on your bottom six, solid puck mover, and a guy that could probably fill in your top six as needed. If he pans out, this is an excellent trade.
Yeah, I mean, you get the UFA thing, right? That Armstrong is not going to let the UFAs go away for nothing. And, as much as, I would love Barbashev to have stayed here for a long time. He seems like he'd be a good fit. Still a possibility we could re-sign him. We got something for all of our UFAs. So
Barbashev and his agent were nothing but complimentary of Doug Armstrong and how he handled Barbashev and his wishes, because Barbashev did want to play. The Blues made it known that they wanted to try and re-sign him instead of trade him, but Barbashev said he wanted to play in the playoffs, and so the Blues honored that wish and they moved him to a team that's going to make the playoffs. So, and they were nothing but complimentary of the Blues and Armstrong after that. So, if Armstrong does indeed go after him to resign him in the offseason, there's goodwill there, apparently. So that can only bode well if you as a fan would like to see Barbashev return, and if Armstrong wants to go after him and he fits into the plan, then that you think that he would consider returning. So
yeah, I why not? I mean, and from what I heard, Barbashev at one point did utter the phrase, "I want to test the open market." So Vegas knows he's a rental, which is fine. And yeah, maybe he goes out and tests the open market and says, "Okay, I can make $4 million here, or I can go back to the Blues and make 2.5, and they'll be good again in a couple years." It's a system I'm familiar with. It's a city I'm familiar with. I don't know. I'm not saying he would take I hate the term home team or hometown discount because we're not his hometown. But, if there might be a chance that he looks at that and says, yeah, I'd love to go back to St. Louis.
Well, I'm looking at his salary now. Was he a 3.5 or 3.25? Barbashev, 2.25. Yeah.
He was a 2.25.
2.25. So, and he's not having a good season. So he did pick it up recently a little bit, but and I think I've talked with somebody online about what a hometown discount for Barbashev in the offseason to sign here would be, and I said honestly about what he's making this season. I don't know how much of a raise he deserves. He had a great last season, but this season really puts a chink in that
I hate to say it, but it feels like last year might have been an anomaly. Oh, because you look at his point totals overall since he's come in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not bad, but they're not at the level that he put up last year.
I think he was the benefit of this of a very deep offensive team that was just clicking. And the 9 forwards, was it, with 20 goals? Ridiculous. That's crazy. So it was just all working and clicking offensively last season. So, and he benefited from that. And this season, he struggled to produce like he did last season, along with the rest of the team, to be honest. So, That's what kind of I know that's going to factor in to probably any negotiations that he has with teams as his season last season. But you're right, Jeff. It has to be considered mostly an anomaly. He's a bottom six guy that can score a little bit. That's what he is.
Right. Last year, I think you have to say last year was an anomaly for him, shooting 24% or whatever ridiculous number it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you gotta figure if he has a great playoff, he's gonna get money like he just put up a 70-point season.
Probably. Well, I mean, yeah, he would get. If he has a great playoff and is noticeable, and the Knights go, a few rounds or whatever, he's probably gonna get like 4, right? I mean,
I think more than that.
You think? He's a bottom 6 guy, though. Everyone knows that. He's not a top 6 guy.
I could see a team throwing money at him. Not saying 6-7. I'm saying probably 5 to 5.5.
5? Oh,
I think so. If he has a good playoff, I could see a team throwing money at him.
That's over double what he's making. That's 2.5 what he's making now.
I'm not saying he's worth it. I'm saying I could see a team doing it.
I mean, I guess it depends what the market is and who's available and how desperate teams are. I guess you never know. But man, oh man, if he gets 5.25, good for him. See you later.
Yeah.
Have a nice career.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Thanks for the Stanley Cup, Ivan.
I mean, I would, if the Blues go after him, I wouldn't want the Blues to give him any more than 3. That's max. No more than 3.
That's why I don't think he's coming back. I think he's definitely getting more than 3 somewhere else.
Well, if you work out an extension for him this year, maybe you give him 4, right? But yeah, once he's gone, can't bring him back for that.
No.
Are you guys watching this?
No trade clause somewhere?
Most people do these days.
I was going to say everyone does, right?
Which game?
Colorado, New Jersey.
I did. And what happened? I saw the replay. I saw the
offside recall.
So there were 2 plays there. It's 6-4. New Jersey pulls their goalie, changes goalies after the goal is scored, and uses that time to look at the video and challenges it for offside. In the lead up to the goal, there was a missed high sticking penalty against Arturi Lehkonen, and I don't know how you call that onside. It looked pretty clear that Lehkonen was offside as well.
Well, you're going.
Colorado is getting the officiating already.
I saw. I did see the slow-mo down the blue line replay, and both of his skates were offside.
Yeah,
but at what point? It's just skates, right? The offside, the plane. Mm-hmm. It's not like your knee, right?
Right, because his left glove was back in the offensive zone.
His hip
was too.
His hip,
but it's the skates.
Right. Both of his skates were inside the zone, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too.
So that was interesting.
Colorado.
Fuck them. It's so funny on social media too that the Colorado fans were still like all over Bennington randomly. It's like at Blackhawks games, or they'll just randomly, they used to randomly chant, Detroit sucks, just when they're not playing the Wings.
Oh, that was my favorite. Blues and Blackhawks games. Every now and then that chant would break out. And I'm like, well, at least we can all agree on something.
The Vegas franchise has only been in existence since 2017, 2018. And they have made 6 picks in the first round since then. 5 of those players have been traded now with the trading of Zach Dean.
So
not surprising.
Let's see. Who are the other ones? Nick Suzuki to Montreal. And who did they trade? Tuck was a Minnesota draft pick, so it wasn't him.
Kari Taco.
I think Austin's
favorite.
Is Reed Schrader? Reed Schrader? What's that guy's name? Is he one of them?
Who did he get traded to?
He just got traded today. Look.
I think Austin's looking it up.
Right.
Yeah, what are we doing? We got a producer for that.
He'll let us know. The Blues did claim Kasperi Kapanen off of waivers from Pittsburgh. Claimed on Saturday prior to the Blues game versus Pittsburgh, the Blues lost in overtime 3-2. He does carry. There was some speculation about whether he would just switch locker rooms. He wasn't there though at the game.
No,
was he? No.
Yeah, he was put on waivers on Friday, so he did not travel with the team.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, some folks were like, "Oh, is this going to change locker rooms?" I don't think they realized that he wasn't there. $3.2 million cap hit for him under contract through next season. He's got 7 goals, 13 assists, 20 points, a -8 in 43 games with the Pittsburgh Penguins this season. Spent 5 years with Toronto prior to his time in Pittsburgh. 202 games played, 41 goals, 49 assists, 90 points with a +6. And he had 3 years in Pittsburgh, 162 games played there, 29 assists, 53 points. I don't have the goals here. I missed the goals. +9. According to the Hockey News, the Pittsburgh Penguins were trying to clear some cap space before the deadline, and they caught a break when Kasperi Kapanen was claimed on waivers by the St. Louis Blues. Now they're free of Kapanen's $3.2 million contract, and the Penguins finally have a little bit of wiggle room going into the trade deadline.
So. I think that's hilarious. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and mention it. Later we've got some notes on their other trades. So they caught a little break, right? So they waive Kapanen.
Mm-hmm.
They trade Teddy Bluger to Vegas for a D prospect and a 2024 third-round pick. Then they trade a 2023 second-round pick for Mikael Granlund from Nashville so they could acquire bottom 6 help.
Yeah.
You just waived Kapanen and traded Teddy Bluger, and so then you're unloading a second-round pick for bottom 6 help?
Well, they wanted better bottom 6 help.
Mikael Granlund? No.
I'm just saying.
Someone needs to check on Ron Hextall. Is he okay?
He's not a...
I don't get that. That makes no sense. I mean, I get like a change of scenery type thing, but Teddy Bluger is a pretty good forward. And you move him and then you bring in Mikael Granlund?
Do they like fire Hextall and hire Gar Snow?
I'm thinking Ron Hextall has another job lined up. He's going somewhere else in the offseason. So he is trying to implode the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
So speculation is that the Islanders were going to claim Kapanen if the Blues hadn't. And the Islanders were also in on wanting to acquire Barbashev. Elliot Friedman said, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they, the Islanders, did make a claim on Kapanen because obviously Lou Lamoriello knows anytime we can fuck over Lamoriello, I'm in favor of that. Knows him from their time together in Toronto, and would have been a free player. It doesn't cost the Islanders an asset to go get him. Yes, there's the money, but you can always try to deal with that again in the summer, or maybe you keep him into next year if you find it works out. It's a free player, and the Islanders have paid a lot of their best assets to go out and get Bo Horvat, which everybody thinks was a good idea. He's played well since he's been acquired there. I think there are a few teams that suspect Lamoriello was around Kapanen. So anytime the Blues can mess up Lamoriello's plan, count me in as a big thumbs up there.
Well, and we'll talk about the Seattle game very briefly, but
in that there was one.
Yeah. Kapanen, I thought looked pretty damn good.
I did too.
He had a couple early chances in the first period. I mean, granted, they were playing him with, was it Buchnevich and Thomas?
Well, he had some power play time too.
Yeah, he did, and he looked great. And but fuck him for taking 42. That's God, David Backus.
We don't have that outline. We should talk about that. How stupid people are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually thought. Jeez. I thought it was theater when I saw people at first complaining, and then I realized, oh no, they're serious. Yeah. Like they actually are upset somebody's wearing 42.
Well, people get upset about Saad taking 20. It's like, I mean, that was a little different because it was a little closer, right? From when Steen retired.
And Steen won a cup here.
Sure. Right. And he asked Steen, and Steen said it was fine. But Bax's number is not getting retired, guys. It's not getting retired. So it's up for grabs. and it's been a while. It's been years.
I think
since
it's been long enough.
Yeah,
yeah. I think people say I saw one argument. It hasn't even been that long since he retired.
It has.
Who cares? Who cares?
Oh.
Well, he didn't retire only a couple of years ago.
No, I'm talking about since he left here.
Who cares about? And well, that's what I'm saying. Who cares about when he retired? Let's talk about when he left the Blues. That was a long time ago.
And he chose. I mean, if you want to get picky, the Blues offered him a contract, a good one, and he left for a little bit more money in Boston, right?
Yep.
And more. It was one more year, same money per year, right? One more year. That's what it was, I think.
And not a Stanley Cup.
And yeah. So he left. It's not like he was traded away. And even then, even if he was, his number's not getting retired. It's been a few years. 4 years, 4 or 5 years. Let it go.
I think maybe if he's on that cup team, which we've said before, I think if he's on that cup team, it's not a cup team. But if he's somehow they work it out and he's on that cup team, okay, maybe you make that argument. Longtime captain, big part of the organization, part of the rebuild. Okay, but no, that number's not getting retired, and I was happy to see somebody finally take it.
Yeah, and I caught
someone has taken it twice since too. Let's be fair, right?
Yeah,
Delzato had it.
Delzato had it in the cup run,
and this year, shit, who had it this year? Someone won 42 this year.
Yeah, one of the early call-ups.
Yeah, I forget who it was.
But
Will Bitten. He wore it.
Yeah, that's right. The Pang said that he initially inquired about 24 and was quickly told, not available.
Okay, that one I would have been pissed about.
Yeah, that number is retired, and so just add them together. Be number 6.
You think when Bernie Federico first met him, he just punched him in the face? How dare you even ask?
Yeah, one of the nicest guys.
Oh, you don't know who I am?
One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Yeah, I can't see him punching anybody in the face.
No.
Yeah.
But no, I loved this waiver claim personally.
Me too.
I think because again, bottom 6 has been a problem this year. There's a couple guys that have played fine. Toropchenko's picked up his game, but when especially that you're moving a Barbashev or possibly other players, we'll see. But I'm like, you got to get that bottom 6 help. But if they're wanting to turn this around quickly, you need a guy for next year. If he's a UFA, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But, the fact that he's locked up for another season,
right? I
love it. I think this is a great move, just a great pickup and kind of a fortunate situation that this kind of fell in Doug's hands. I'm not saying he's going to be like some prolific, what he was originally intended to be, this big time scoring forward that's putting up 30 goals, but he's going to be a solid contributor, I think, on that bottom 6, and I'm all for it.
Well, you can tell me, watch just in the one game he played, you can tell he's got skill. He's got hands. He's got skill. He can play. So I think it was a good risk to take. He's making, was it 3.2, whatever it is. If he doesn't work out and he struggles to produce and all that stuff, it's only 1 year. Next year is the last year of the contract, so it's not like they're stuck with him for a while.
Right.
So I think it's a fine gamble.
Right. If it's that bad, throw him on waivers and let Lamoriello have him.
Yeah,
that's right.
There you go. And honestly, depending on what happens this year with the Penguins, if you put them on waivers, they might be interested in getting them back.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So I think it's a very low risk move for Doug, and I'm not going to say high reward, low risk, high reward. I'll say low risk, good enough reward.
There's not
guy that can compare, that can compete in the NHL in your bottom 6.
Yeah, the way I look at it,
tremendous speed.
Yeah, the way I look at this is it is we brought in more than a warm body. Right, we brought in a guy who might just be a change of scenery away from breaking out. Probably not, but we have an NHL caliber player on the roster through the rest of this season until we can get further into this retool.
I think he's a 15-goal guy. I think 15 goals, maybe. I mean, depends on who he's playing on the line with and all that stuff. But
I think last year he scores 20 goals with the Blues.
Probably, everybody did.
Yeah.
Right. I scored 20 goals last year.
I could have scored 6. Kapanen was in the game, and the Blues lost to Seattle. Ponder was at this game.
I was.
So give us. You said that the atmosphere at the game in the crowd was good. I mean, considering the Blues have now lost 6 straight, a number of guys have been traded away. The fan base should have fully embraced the what this season has now become. Right? We're basically just trying to get a high draft pick.
I mean, the last time I went to a game was New Year's Eve. Bill, weren't you at that game too? Is that right?
No, the only game I've been to this year was the Islanders early in the season.
Well, either way, the last game I went to was New Year's Eve, the Wild game that O'Reilly broke his foot, and it was still kind of a party, let's make the playoffs atmosphere. They can go on a run type thing. It did feel a little different in this game, but I don't know. It actually gave me hope, Bill and Kurt, and you'll love to hear this because, we're kind of in our silo of social media here where all we see are just fucking, I'm sorry, asinine, stupid shit, right? Like that's all we fucking see. Like you'll get really... one intelligent comment out of maybe 10 or 15.
It's bad.
So for me, I'm just like, oh my God. But like going to the game and seeing people, like, first of all, still root on the team, which I like. I've said this before, man, I get it. We want to lose so we can get a higher draft pick. I get that 100%. But when it comes to being a fan of a team, I can never root for them to lose, ever. And anyone around me, they were not doing that. The conversation was still, let's hope we can get Kyrou going here. There's a guy next to me talking about, I just think that if they change the defensive coach, maybe we've got a different situation next year. Like it was still a very positive atmosphere. And there were still people rooting on the team, excited they scored goals, and just positive. Even though and I think if this team still had all of its UFAs, probably not the same situation. But the fact that people are kind of embracing what's going on, I love it. It makes me very happy to see, and it brought a lot of glimmer to me because it's been so negative reading social media and seeing how people think. Like I told you earlier, Kurt, literally saw someone say, stop going to Blues games. Don't go to Blues games because this team needs to lose so they understand, if they're losing money, they have to have a winning product. And I'm just like, okay, so you want the team to be sold and moved because we're not having people show up to the games? Like, knowing that...
And the fans make that much of a difference?
It's ridiculous, Bill. I'm telling you. Like, some of the people, we all look at social media. It's awful. And
the meme?
Being a different idea at a game itself.
The meme?
Be a very positive atmosphere.
The comic strip meme, let people enjoy things. Right.
Yeah.
Just
right.
People they want to go to games and enjoy a hockey game, but they might lose. They probably will lose. They're not playing well. They've lost some top end talent. They're a shell of what they once were before. People show up to these games and social media, they'll go off and like, oh, this team's, they're complaining about this, complaining about that, about the way the team's playing. Like they're a shell. They've traded away Barbashev, Tarasenko, O'Reilly, Mikkola. They've traded away a chunk of this team. They're going to be worse. I mean, it's just the way it's going to be. I mean, what do you expect this team to be? I don't really understand what people's expectations are right now for this team if they're complaining about them. Now, it's one thing for the team to actually look like a monkey fucking a football on the ice, and it's embarrassing. Hockey play and professional players should be able to do certain things on the ice. And we've seen a few plays that, it didn't look like it was professional hockey. So that's bad. But still, with that said, let's calm down, guys.
Yeah. I mean, for me, relax. And especially like, it's a Tuesday night. Like it's a fun thing to go do during the week or weekends. And, I don't know. I just couldn't imagine us sitting here on this show. Like, can you guys imagine this? Just us sitting on the show and just being like, hey, Blues fans, what the fuck are you doing? Stop going to the games. What are you doing? Don't go to these games. You want this team to lose, and you want them to see that when they lose, they're not going to get the support. Can you imagine having that thought process? No, you've still got to support your team so they stick around.
Yeah. Well, Kirk kind of started to go down that path, wanting to do a city podcast tonight, but
No, honestly, I mean, it is fun to talk about a winning team, but
yeah. Right. But
you say winning team, they've won one game.
Right. They've won one game, but this is the thing, right? I was talking to a guy at work today about we're still okay, right? We won the Stanley Cup in the last 4 years, right? So we haven't done multiple rebuilds, right? We are retooling after the core of that team has now moved on. So I think we are still in almost a honeymoon period, if you will. I think it's going to be okay unless, we miss the playoffs for the next 4 years because of this. I'm okay with some downtime. I'm really looking forward to watching the playoffs this year without the Blues in it. That is going to be a hell of a year. And there is no way without the most amount of luck that the Blues would win a single playoff game if they squeaked in. So,
Ken Morris asked if John Hamm has said anything about Barbashev being traded, since Barbashev and John Hamm are like linked at the hip.
Yeah.
So Rutherford did ask John Hamm about like he's got his number, I guess.
He probably does.
He might. I wasn't being sarcastic. I was like, I guess it sounded like I probably was, but I was like, of course, he has his number. But John Hamm did say, very sad to see the end of the Barbashev era in St. Louis. The 49-20-70 line during the 19 Cup run was one of the most relentless examples of absolute dominance in forecheck. Every time I got the chance to go up in the booth, he did something spectacular. While I can only envision him with a blue note on his sweater, I know I'm not alone in wishing him nothing but the best in Vegas, and we can hope his journeys lead him back to the Arch City.
But it also makes it a lot easier for John Hamm to go watch Ivan Barbashev.
Yeah,
that's true.
Drive from LA to Vegas.
That's true.
Or helicopter or whatever, rich actors get to do.
Train. I think actors take trains.
This is the 1940s.
Jesse Hill in the chat, not a Barbashev fan. Pass on Barbashev. One good season.
I love Barbashev. Again,
not consistent.
I think
spend the money elsewhere, he says.
Even with his kind of down year, I guess, or the fact that he had one good season, as a bottom six guy, I love him. I'd love to have him back. But again, I think for the price he is going to command,
right?
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I liked him. I agree with you. Bottom six, I liked him. His checking role, a guy who could score a little bit. Loved to hit. Picked his spots, but when he hit. I liked him. But yeah, like you said, I think he's going to be priced out of this team, probably. So yep. I don't see him coming back, especially if the Blues go after O'Reilly. I don't know. There's so much up in the air right now.
Yep, going to be an interesting summer. So stay tuned, folks, because we have a show every week. And
every single week.
I've not shared, and I still am not going to, what my summer plan is. But I will tell folks, and actually this might be news to Kurt and Bill, there will be a video teaser on what the summer plan will be. So expect that in the next probably couple weeks.
Okay.
It might be, you guys know what it is, but this might be, I'm not going to say it's my best idea, but it might be the most fun idea I've had.
I'm still waiting for your best idea. I
feel like that's what my boss tells me.
Let me know when you got a good idea.
You know what, Kurt? I hope you're always waiting for my best idea, because that means that my best is always in front of me.
Right. Yes. And nothing is ever good enough.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, you did that, huh? Well, okay, I'm looking for something better. So give me something better next time. So yeah, a lot of this. It's interesting to me, the Colton Parayko rumors, and they're substantial, right? And they're talked about a lot. A lot of teams kicking the tires on Parayko, inquiring with Armstrong on Parayko about his availability, and the way Armstrong operates, and I guess the way most GMs probably operate, is that they would have to put a trade together and agree on a trade, and then he would go to this player, Parayko in this case, and ask him if he'd be willing to. We have a trade in place for you. Would you be willing to waive your trade clause and go there? Did you want to go there? Because they want you. So, and apparently, from what people are saying, I think this is JR that said this, that in The Athletic, that the only team that Parayko is thought to maybe waive his no trade clause for would be Edmonton. And I don't. That's not coming from Parayko's camp. I think it's speculation, but that's educated guesses from people in the know.
Right. It's home.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Edmonton just made a trade for defensemen, so they're probably out on Parayko.
At least this season, yes.
Yeah. Ottawa is probably interested. Other teams are, but and all this talk from the national guys, the national insiders, about Parayko. I don't think, and some mention it, right? Some mention it, but I don't think enough mention the fact that he has this no trade clause, and there's been no indication that he's going to waive it. So I'm every time someone brings it up, we gotta, move all the defense except for one guy, except for Falk. Somebody will say, "Oh, keep everyone but Falk."
Tucker.
Like,
got to keep Tucker.
Tucker, right? It was it was Tucker. That's right. Keep everyone but Tucker. Ship everyone out except for Tucker. Keep Tucker. And I'm like, what? Tucker? I mean, I the guy's a nice depth guy to have in the press box, I guess, for toughness if you need it, but keep him over everybody on the team. Okay.
He looked like a pylon last night.
He's not. Okay. I like his attitude. I like his toughness.
Absolutely.
Love it. But I'm not gonna annoy. I haven't seen near enough of him to trade everyone except for him. That's that mindset anyway to move on from everyone except for Tucker, which was funny to me.
Yeah. That must have been posted by that kid I saw in Schnucks wearing a Tucker jersey a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, right. Had to be.
Edmonton just traded for defenseman Matthias Ekholm from Nashville.
Yeah.
So that's
moving out Tyson Berry.
Right.
Yeah. Which
and
was funny because I thought Barry was more like, we're going to have him as a supplemental piece. Let's bring in somebody better, though, to anchor the D. But then they just were like, Barry kind of sucks. Let's move him out, too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was going to say that I don't think, and I said this earlier on Twitter, I don't think Parayko gets moved at all, at least in the next couple of years.
I don't know.
He's sticking around, and I'm going to tell Blues fans kind of my thought process and hope that you all at least try and adopt it. You need to just accept this defense is sticking around. And the issue with that...
Look at Austin shaking his head. No.
They are, man.
You can't
They all have no trade clauses. What are you going to do?
You can't even go to Scandella right now. Well, you could. He's got a partial no trade clause.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I'm saying that the top four, they're sticking around.
Yeah.
I think the only hope that the Blues have is while their contracts are all on the books. And that's why I think people who think they might turn it around next year or even the year after, they're not, because this defense ain't it. This ain't going to do shit. The only thing I think you can hope for is that, one, they make a move for a young defenseman who is controlled and is just not going to make a lot of money, who can maybe step in and play
Jacob
well.
Chikrin?
Pernovich. Oh.
Not even Jacob Chikrin. Probably somebody even younger than that.
That ship sailed.
Ship sailed. Finally. That ship that was in dock to the harbor for 2 years, 3 years.
The only other thing I think with that you could hope for is that when the Blues, hopefully they make this, I don't know, I don't want to say hopefully, that they make their pick in the first round. It's going to be a high one. Hopefully they can get a very good young defenseman who can develop within the next 3 or 4 years and maybe that guy steps in as probably a second pairing guy, and he plays well. And then maybe you find some other guys that will be able to step in and play a little better and be able to improve this defense slightly. But
if
I'm telling you, with this defense the way it is, they ain't going anywhere.
Well, here's the flip side of the coin. Okay, for anybody who might be looking for an optimistic reason, and this is just me talking. I think the talent individually on the defense should be there. It's like these players should be better than they are, and they're just not working together at all. I'm not sure why that is, because we talked about it last week on the show, is that individually, each of these deals, when they were acquired at the time, we liked. But for whatever reason, when you put it all together, it doesn't work. And they look bad. So maybe if they would ever fucking fire Mike Van Ryn, maybe you get a different voice in the room. Maybe that makes a little bit of a difference. Maybe Perunovic coming in helps make a little bit of a difference. Not that he's a big, strong defensive guy, but he's a different body.
Well, you say different voice in the room for Van Ryn. It's also that another system implemented might
could
help.
be another system, right? Yeah, which it would go. That's all part of the same, the voice in the room system. It's all kind of tied into one, I think. If Van Ryn is on this team next season, I don't know. That's the definition of insanity, right? You just keep going to the well with the same defensive coach. I don't get it. Every year.
I mean, I don't know that it's just finding somebody new. I think you have to find the right guy. And I don't know who that necessarily would be, but I think at this
Larry
point,
Robinson. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's too happy in retirement.
He's 110 years old,
spending time with his grandkids. But yeah, I mean, he was the guy that could make Colton Parayko right, and he's moved on in life. If you can find a guy who can set up the right system, and that's got to be the answer, because you're right, we're stuck with this team. It's there unless something miraculous happens and the Parayko gets moved. Edmonton, thinking about it, they sent out their right-handed D and brought in another left-handed D. They were pretty good there with Darnell Nurse, right? So, but now who do they have on the power play? So maybe they still try to make a move for Parayko. I doubt it, but you got to find the defensive whisperer who can get these guys right.
Maybe Edmonton does something in the offseason with Parayko. I mean, maybe they go and they take a run at with what they got now, and so say it doesn't work out, and in the offseason they make some moves, and let's say Parayko would waive his no trade for Edmonton, and they would make a move for him. I think that would make a big difference on the defense. But then again, you've got the whole thing that we've kind of touched on, is he playing hurt? And will he be healthy in a year and then start to play better again? Right. You got the J-Bo syndrome.
Right.
But to me, that's a what if.
Yeah, right. Sure.
And
Armstrong would know that, right? Armstrong would know if he's playing hurt. So.
Right. And that was I thought the beauty of JR's article today, right? Is Parayko, you can't trust that he's not the guy that we thought he was at this point. Even if he's playing hurt, can he get back to the level that he was with the right treatment? But Armstrong's not going to go to him with a trade request until he has a deal in place. That's how he operates.
I think that's what people have said. I think Jeff touched on that too before.
Yeah, it's the right way to go, right? So you don't create this "we don't want you here" situation.
Right. It kind of approach it like, hey, we've been approached by this team, and here's the deal that they want to make. I want to come to you. Do you want to go there? If you want to go there, we'll move you there. That put it in his court, right? Which is what you have to do. All kinds of conversation in the chat about our defense. Everyone's got a different opinion on who they want to keep. Lights on Geometry says crud. Yeah, the play on words. Krug and Letty both need to go first.
We've got our comment of the show here, so I'm just waiting for you to either read it or pass it over.
Which one? There's like 12 here we could use.
Matt Harris, congratulations, sir. You have gotten comment of the show. Trade Parayko for a bag of Band-Aids. Use the Band-Aids on Krug. Yes, 100%.
We're going to bring up Perunovic, right? Before the season's over to play?
Yeah, like I said before, you want him injured here rather than down at the A.
Right. Why not? Why not bring him up at some point after he gets conditioned in the A? Like he went down there he's played a handful of games now. So,
yeah, you have to imagine after last night's game, and I know we still have to break that one down officially, but you have to imagine that Tyler Tucker is going to get a couple games in the press box because he looked real bad last night. Callie Rosen, I think, will go back in, but I don't know. Maybe they keep running Tucker out.
And I'm kind of confused why Rosen's not playing.
Because we want to lose.
But the coaching, unless Armstrong's pulling strings there, because Berube is trying to win. The players are trying to win. If Berube wants to dress the best defensive core he can with what he has available, Rosen's got to be a part of that. I don't understand why he's not playing.
But, and the Avs have lost.
Yay. Even though I'm rooting for a Wyshynski team in this game. All right. So we'll talk some Patrick Kane and some Rangers news. We are due for a break. So after this word from strikewithmike.com, this is Let's Go Blues Radio.
During the magical 2019 playoff run, I was in the midst of buying my current home. Every time I spoke with my realtor, obviously, home buying was the discussion. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't stop thinking about what was destined to happen for our St. Louis hockey team. If only there were a realtor who could have walked me through the process, held my hand when needed, but was there to be a sounding board when I wanted to complain about a certain hand pass goal. Let realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage be that for you. He'll have your needs top of mind as he skates you through the home buying or selling process, dangling you past any obstacles and assisting on all your home goals. Check out strikewithmike.com for more information or give him a call directly at 314-753-4060. That's Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage at strikewithmike.com, and that number again is 314-753-4060. Don't forget to tell Mike that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
Man, Austin, with vulgar language in the chat, in our private chat, the show chat. Jeez, who does he think he is?
Have you guys noticed that we've been doing rock paper scissors in every break since last week? And Austin, I have beaten you every fucking time.
I have not noticed that. How have I not noticed?
I don't know.
I haven't noticed it because I can't see Austin.
That's right. Yeah, Bill can't. Kurt, you haven't noticed? Every break, we've been doing rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3. And I've won every time.
Well, here, let's do it right now. Ready?
Oh, great.
Ready?
You want to do it again?
Let's do it again. I haven't. Ready?
All right, here we go. One paper, scissors. Okay, he beat me that.
What the fuck are you doing?
It's fire.
Jesus Christ. All right. One more time. Best out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
Fire beats all, so I'm just gonna keep using
Rock,
fire.
paper, scissors.
It
No.
looks like you're
It's 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Ah,
What are you guys doing?
Yeah. I finally
1,
won.
2, 3,
All right,
shoot.
all right.
Well,
All right.
well. Also, part of the problem is that there's a slight delay here, so I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen. But that's the first time Austin's beat me, and of course, it's on air.
Right.
I'll beat you during the next break too.
Congrats,
Yeah,
Austin.
we'll see, bitch.
Woo!
See ya. Whoop. There we go. All right. Yeah, I didn't even know there was a whole game going on in the background. You guys got standings and everything?
We've done it every break now.
Jeez.
Since you joined the show.
Thanks for telling me. Feel so left out.
You can see us.
I don't look at you guys. I try not to look at you guys.
Why? We're so adorable.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm doing stuff. Patrick Kane joins Tarasenko and former teammate and Panarin in New York. The New York Rangers acquired Patrick Kane and Cooper Zek in a 3-way trade with the Chicago Blackhawks and Arizona Coyotes. The Coyotes retain 50. You say Coyotes or Coyotes?
I go back and forth.
Really?
It actually, you know what? It actually depends on who I am talking to.
I have never said Coyotes in my life, except for
if I'm talking to a hockey fan, a lot of times I'll say Coyotes. If I'm talking to somebody who's never watched hockey ever, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, the Arizona Coyotes."
Yeah, I would. Okay. So the Coyotes. The Yotes. The Yotes.
Yotes. Yeah, Yotes too. That's up there.
What's a Yote? The
two Yotes.
The two Yotes. Have you seen My Cousin Vinny, Jeff?
Of course.
Okay.
But I'm drawing a blank on that.
The two
line.
Utes. What's a Ute?
The two Utes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep, I got it.
Come on, man.
Sorry, a little slow.
He's too busy watching Mean Girls. The
great fucking movie. All right,
it's okay. It's all right. It's
Matt
good
Harris
for a few quotes.
Back on that.
It's good for a few quotes. The Coyotes do retain 50% of Kane's salary, along with acquiring a Rangers conditional 2025 third-round pick. The Blackhawks received a 2023 second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, and defenseman Ville, not going to work here anymore, from the Rangers, and defenseman Andy Walensky from Arizona.
Sorry, RV.
Sorry, RV. That sounds good.
Sorry, RV.
Sorry, RV. Sorry, RV.
Sorry, RV. Sorry, RV. You've been traded.
Chicago's return is minimal due to Kane only willing to accept the trade to the Rangers. I thought they got a lot for him, considering that everyone knew where he was going. He wasn't going anywhere else, right?
Right. Yeah, it could turn out to be a first-round pick.
Yeah,
right?
It could.
So,
not this year.
Not
this year, but
no, it wouldn't be. What's the condition?
So if the
Rangers doesn't pick right now,
any cabbies.
it's a second-round pick now, but
it becomes a first-round pick if they get to the third round, I believe.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I speculated it might be how far they go in the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember back when Ryan Callahan and Martin St. Louis got traded for each other, the Rangers and the Lightning, and it was like, how the hell did the Lightning get anything of value? Because St. Louis made it public. I only want to go to the Rangers. If I'm the Rangers, I'm like, all right, you get a 7th-round pick. You don't want to take it? Okay, well, then you're going to lose them in the summer for nothing. Like, how do teams still pull this off and still get anything of value for these players when that happens? It boggles my mind. I don't get it.
Well, Chicago could say, screw you, I'm not moving him. We're not moving him.
Yeah, but then you're losing him in the offseason for nothing.
Yeah, I know, but if they're not getting anything but like a 3rd or 4th-round pick for him, then what's the? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, would you? I get it. You move him for as whatever you can when it comes down to it, but it's almost like you have to go back to Patrick Kane and say, hey, you gotta say that you're willing to go to more than one team because we're just not getting anything for you at all from the Rangers.
Yeah,
but that wasn't the case.
That's what pisses me off. And Mark Lazarus had a really awesome article on this, Blackhawks writer for The Athletic. he basically wrote an article basically saying, are people going to be pissed at Patrick Kane because of this? Are people going to remember him in a negative light because of this? No, because he's fucking Patrick Kane, and he brought a couple cups to Chicago. So at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Chicago's always going to love Patrick Kane. He'll always be the Blackhawk up there with, in the top 5 of players of all time for that organization. So I get that. But I think that is so shitty. There was a couple teams that are cup contenders that he could have been moved to. Carolina comes to mind. They would have gladly accepted a Patrick Kane. But he made it very well.
With Teuvo Teravainen.
That's true.
I'm not complaining about this.
That.
Because
I'm not either.
Chicago's in our division. They're a rival. If they get fucked in this Kane trade, I'm like, good.
I agree, but I'm just saying I think it is super shitty of Patrick Kane to make it well known I'm only going to go to the Rangers.
I agree.
Like, come on, man. Like, at least even publicly, just come out and say, like, I'll move to anyone who's going to win a cup this year. That way, at least, maybe the Rangers are going to offer your team more. I just think that is just not good business by him. And if I'm the Blackhawks organization, I'm pretty pissed at the way he left.
Anything can happen, and but the addition of Tarasenko has not been great for them so far. He had 2 goals, 2 assists, and 9 games played. Then he got the overtime winner tonight, so in his 10th game. With them.
And he got the apple on the tying goal.
Okay,
a one-timer from the high slot that was redirected by Chris Kreider.
It's funny because we see complaints from Rangers fans, social media, about him taking too long to get a shot off. And that was my gripe about him this whole time here. I mean, even when he was being very productive, he dusted off that fucking wrist shot, and he let that goalie get in a position. He could have had 50 goals in a season if he could just get his wrist shot off. I mean, easier said than done. I get it. He's in the NHL. I'm not. But I'm watching, and I'm like, and he, Pang and Kelly and whoever else is analyzing these highlights. Oh yeah, he dusts off that puck. He just couldn't, and he couldn't get it on goal quick enough or whatever. And Rangers fans have seen the same thing, and they're complaining about it. So
it wasn't until recently he started being able to actually pull off one-timers. Still not to the consistency you would hope, but he was actually still doing it recently, and it's like,
remember,
dude, you're well into your NHL career, and you're finally taking one-timers?
Remember when he came back from his shoulder surgery and he let that monster one-timer go from the near boards, and it was like upper corner, it was like under the bar. It was amazing. It was the best one-timer goal I ever seen him take, and it was after his shoulder surgery, and we're like, oh wow, his shoulder looks fine to me, because he doesn't do that. Doesn't do that enough. He'll do that every now and then, but it's like, that's not part of his game. You much more frequently see him, shank a one-timer or whatever, as opposed to getting a good shot off on a one-timer. Like Perron can do it, but Tarasenko can't.
Yeah, I saw a couple. There was another tweet I saw. I wish I would have pulled it up here so I could have quoted it exactly, but I saw a Rangers fan say, anyone else annoyed that Vladimir Tarasenko just has disappeared since his first game here? And I'm like, and then all the comments from Rangers fans being like, yeah, what the hell? And then there were Blues fans chiming in like, yep, this is what we've been saying. Like,
this is what he does.
Disappear for parts of the season, and
he'll score.
It just happens.
He'll score 5 goals in 8 games, and then he'll get 2 in 14. It's, and a lot of players, that happens to a lot of players. It's hard to maintain a consistency offensively. It's just hard for players to do. But when you're a higher end player and more is expected of you, your droughts are more magnified and they're noticed by people. And it's funny to see other fan bases see what we've seen in him. Okay. As much as great as Tarasenko was for his franchise, and as how many good seasons he had here, recently there were gripes about his play, and that was what they're seeing now.
It's okay to say this because we're talking about the Rangers. TBS broadcast. I'm sorry, TNT broadcast. Henrik Lundqvist. My God, he is an attractive man. It's just not even fair. I mean, good Lord, give the rest of us a chance, Henrik. What the hell?
Save some for the rest of us.
And you've got Biz Nasty going tieless with the rest of the crew. All knotted up there.
That's a good looking crew. You got Bissonette, you got Liam McHugh, Anson Carter, and Henrik Lundqvist.
Do you think Bissonette's a attractive fella?
I think he's a good looking dude. It's probably more his personality, but yeah,
I would. Dude. I think his personality is cool when he's not on Spit and Chicklets. When he's held back a little bit and not so much of a douchebag.
The douchebag hockey show.
Right.
Yeah. When he's not with Ryan Whitney.
Right. Oh, Whitney's such an ass. God, he's such an asshole.
Can't stand that guy.
There's a reason why he's not on the national broadcast, I guess, on TNT.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd love, and we've talked about it before, the broadcasts that are on TNT, TBS, so much better than the ESPN. The guy, okay. I'm sorry. I know we're totally going off on a tangent. Austin's going to yell at us, but oh my God, the ESPN stuff with PK Subban and Mark Messier. You guys saw that the other day, right?
A little bit, yeah. About how they disagreed. They disagreed on the hit by Oshie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pure gold. Because listen, I am not going to say that Mark Messier doesn't know anything about hockey, because he does. He is a hockey genius, I'm sure. But he's not a good commentator. I'm sorry, he's not. And I don't think Chris Chelios is that great either. So ESPN, they went after the names. They didn't go after the talent. But I think they've kind of hit a little bit with PK Subban. And I think he is bringing a realism to that panel and seeing what he can do with these guys who, yes, they are Hall of Famers. They know hockey, but they don't know how to tell it like guys like PK Subban do it. I hate giving him credit because I hated him as a player. But holy shit, he is great on that panel, and I want to see more of it.
Did you see him wave off Messier when they had disagreement? He was like,
"Oh yeah, yeah."
He wasn't happy. Yeah.
Messier's talking about something. You see PK in the background just shaking his head no.
And it was about the Oshie hit that I saw that they were talking about, and they disagreed on it. Was Messier said that's the hit that they want to get out of the league, and Subban was more or less disagreeing with him and saying, well, that's not a dirty hit, right? Was that the gist of it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Andy Strickland and Cam Jansen were talking about it on their podcast, and they said, well, PK Subban was a dirty player, so I mean, take that with a grain of salt with what he has to say and his views too. So
but I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, the guy was a slew footer, but at the same time, I mean, we're not talking about their careers. We're talking about the game today. And I know PK just retired, but I don't know. You need personality to be on these shows. And I'm not saying Mark Messier and Chris Chelios don't, but for being a national broadcast, you want it to be entertaining. And I don't think those two are very entertaining. PK adds a nice, entertaining aspect to that panel.
I will agree with you, even though I don't like Subban.
Yeah, I have not seen it. I do own a PK Subban jersey. It was 2014 Winter Classic.
I did not know that.
Yeah, absolutely love it. It was to me the end of Montreal. The previous good era in Montreal is when he got traded to Nashville.
Yeah. And
I was in Nashville the day he got traded there. So actually the day that training camp opened after that trade.
Oh, so Austin's showing off his Subban Predators jersey.
That's a travesty. That is don't wear that.
Did I ever tell you guys that I when I met PK Subban, not as a media member, I just met him on the street one day.
He slew footage you, right, on the sidewalk?
Yes, yeah. I was walking by and he stuck his leg out. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
What? That's how you do. That's how you greet people. That was what his argument when he was slew footing people continuously in the league is like he didn't know how to check people in that manner. He'd always drag his feet.
Right. Yep.
Go ahead.
So it was actually outside the Prudential Center. I was in New Jersey for work, and I was walking to my car, and it was right before the season started. So it was like late August, and it was the year he was traded to New Jersey. And I was just walking to my car, and I look over to my right. There's this well-dressed man, and instantly I knew who it was. I'm like, oh my God, that's PK Subban.
Was he wearing like a big hat?
And what?
Was he wearing a big hat?
No, he was just like wearing a very nice suit. It was all he was wearing.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's PK Subban. And I'm on my car. I wasn't gonna say anything. I didn't want to bother him. And and I'm just wearing a Blues hat. And I see him look over at me.
He goes, "Aren't you Jeff Ponder?"
No. I saw him looking
at the media or something,
and I could tell he was like trying. I think he saw like from the side, like, what the hell hat is he? Is he wearing a Blues hat in New Jersey? What the hell? And so I finally just looked over him and I just go, and this was 2019. This was the summer after the Blues won the Cup. And I just looked over and I just go, you don't mind, do you? And I pointed to my hat. And he just looked at me, he just shakes his head. He just goes, what the hell are you doing in New Jersey? And I'm like, for work. But I'll tell you what, this is the team right here. And he just goes, yeah, we'll see this season. I was
what year was that?
We will.
What year was that?
2019, 2020. They still had a great year that year.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, it was just funny. It was just a classic exchange. Like, he was just a normal guy. I was just a normal guy, and he seems like that type of guy.
Two guys being dudes.
Yes, exactly. No, it was a perfect exchange, and it just, again, I've said before, not a fan of him on the rink, off the rink. I love his personality. Hilarious guy.
All right. So we are due for another break. Oh, but before we do that, I just want to say one more thing about Tarasenko. Dating back to his time in St. Louis.
One more thing.
Not including the game tonight, because he had 2 points tonight, Bill. So dating back to his time in St. Louis, Tarasenko before tonight had 2 goals, 2 assists, and was a -4 in his last 14 games played, but did have a goal and assist tonight in the game winner overtime for the Rangers. So maybe he'll start a nice little streak in New York.
He is a very streaky player, so we'll see.
We'll talk some rapid fire tidbits from around the NHL after this word from Sunrise Brewery. So don't nobody go nowhere. This is Let's Go Blues Radio.
Do you like hockey? Of course you do. Do you like beer? Of course you do. Are you 21? Let's hope so. If you answered yes to all of those questions, run on down to your local beer distributor and pick up a 2-4 of Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, or any other delicious hockey-themed beer from Sunrise Brewery. That's right, Sunrise Brewery beer is available at various beer stores around town, so check around for the one closest to you. That's Sunrise Brewery. Let's go Blues.
Next up for the Blues was this tally there and during the break, the RPS rock paper scissors.
Oh, so you actually saw it that time?
I saw it. I was playing. Did you not see me?
Well, oh no, I did not. I actually didn't see you.
I won everyone.
I see how easy it is.
See,
now.
it's like 30 seconds. If you blink, you miss it.
Well, he pulled your fire shit, so we actually didn't get a victor.
It's from Friends. Joey did fire.
I know.
Yeah.
I do want to call out Matt Harris's tweet or message here. If I had a nickel for every time Jeff went on a rant over how attractive a man was, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's crazy it happened twice.
That's funny. That's good stuff. Up next for the Blues, the 3-game road trip starting off in San Jose tomorrow, which is Thursday, 9:30 p.m. on Bally's Sports Midwest. Saturday versus the LA Kings at 9:30 p.m. on Bally's Sports Midwest, and Tuesday versus the Arizona Coyotes at 8 p.m. on Bally's.
So, I mean, I think we could probably fill in both, but let's just say St. Louis City goes way over time. Bill, what are you watching? You turning in for the Blues game at all, or are you waiting until for that City game to end?
City. I'm gonna be
Well,
prioritizing City going
I'm with you.
forward. The rest of this hockey season.
well, I'm gonna record I record all the Blues games anyway, so I will oftentimes do something else or watch something else while the Blues game's being recorded, and then watch the Blues game later at my leisure. I'm typically got to avoid the scores, and it sucks finding the score out when you record a game you really want to watch.
Yeah, that was the City game for me Saturday night.
Wait, and you heard where'd you hear the score? Not in our chat, because if you were in our chat, shame on you.
No, it was it actually, I think it was a problem with the settings on my Apple TV device. Didn't pick up that I wanted scores hidden. So when I went to it, it told me the score.
Oops.
Gotta say, I liked a lot about the Apple TV's interface. It's nice, except for the score box, right? It looks like
very bland.
Very bland. It looks like the default Courier New font is up there that they just left on there for the application. That so rapid fire tidbits from around the NHL: Timo Meyer, Scott Harrington, Santeri Hitaka. His names.
I had to go through these already, so I can say them if you want.
Go ahead. You pronounce them right. I'm tired of talking. You talk.
Timur Ibraganov, Zach Emond, and Colorado's 2024 fifth-round pick traded to the New Jersey Devils for the Sharks' first-round pick, conditional 2024 first-round pick. Shakir.
Shamalama ding dong.
I said these like 3 times, and I've already forgotten. Shakir Makhamadullin, Fabian Zetterlund, Nikita Okhotiuk, Andreas Johnson, and a 2024 seventh-round picks. Sharks retained 50% of Timo Meyer's salary. I swear that's as close as we'll get to their names.
Right.
I mean, half of them sound like Eskimos.
Right. The Devils backroom staff ran out of vowels. So like we need to trade some of these guys. So
they need $800 to pay for all the letters they're putting on the jerseys.
So this went down on Sunday night, and I saw Austin for hockey Sunday night. And it was funny because he asked me, he goes, "Hey, did you see the return on the Timo Meier trade?" And I hadn't yet. I was like, "Oh, let me look it up." And so I look it up, and I start seeing these names. And he gets back after a shift because I wasn't playing. I was in the scorekeeper's box. He gets back after playing. He sits on the bench, and he goes, "What was the return?" I'm like, "Hang on, you got to give me a couple minutes to figure out how to say these damn names." Yeah, the one that really got me was it was Shakir Makhamadullin. I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah. I think Merrick said Makhamadullin, but I would trust that Jeff over this Jeff.
I agree. I would too. No, it would have been nice to have Timo Meier, but as we talked about last week, I mean, his $10 million due next season, it's quite the hamstring that you're putting on a team. So apparently the Devils can figure it out. We'll see, but I don't know. That would have been tough for the Blues to do.
Minnesota Wild acquire Marcus Johansson from the Washington Capitals for a 2024 third-round pick, which I think
Capitals are selling.
Right?
Yeah.
Capitals are the one team in the East that are selling. But it feels very much like St. Louis though. They want a quick retool, get Ovi one more shot.
Yeah, and they're out of the playoff. Right? Are they still just on the outside looking in? Right, I believe.
Yeah, last I looked, they were like 6 points out of a wild card spot or 5 points out.
Oh yeah. They are farther than I thought.
Right, and let's be honest, the Eastern Conference has gone nuclear with the trade deadline this year.
Yeah,
right. Everybody is just trying to go all in,
which is funny because half those teams are going to be done in the first round.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
how many people are rooting for Rangers Devils in the first round? And both of those teams have just spent so much of their equity, as Doug likes to say.
And Toronto too. Toronto
Yeah.
is going for it this year.
Right.
In a year that Boston is looks unbeatable.
Right. This seems like the year that Toronto will burn if they don't beat the Bruins.
Oh, they will. Toronto will be done. They will not. They will blow it up. They'll have to. I don't want to say blow it up, but they will have to make. Okay, let's say heads will roll. I think is the way I'm going. They'll need to replace every coach, every GM, every manager.
I Maple Leafs fans surely want revenge for what year was it that Boston came back in Game 7 on them?
Right, they were down 3-1 going into the third. They were down 3-1 in the series. Yeah. It was,
and they scored 2 late goals, right, on Toronto, and then they won in overtime.
Yeah,
on a scramble. Yeah, so, I mean, Maple Leafs fans are just dying probably to beat Boston.
Yeah,
to get some kind of revenge from that series.
It was like St. Louis and probably Detroit, St. Louis and LA, St. Louis and Chicago there for a little while.
Yep.
Yeah. 2013, Austin says. I'm with I guessed it. 2013. I remember that year. That was
nuts.
So weird.
I'm and I've said it before. Anybody in the East except for Boston. Whoever Boston's playing, I'm looking forward to watching some of these series in the East, especially in the first round. This is gonna be amazing.
I hate to say it, I am not rooting for the Rangers anymore at all. I hope they lose in the first round. Now that they have Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
Sorry, Vladdy.
Yeah. I don't want to see Kane do anything.
Yeah, they were, when they got Tarasenko, they were I was like, I hate to have to think that I'm going to root for either the Rangers or the Leafs this year, but I might have to. But yeah, now that they have Patrick Kane, sorry.
So what are you thinking, like Tampa Bay again? I mean, nobody wants to see a team win that many cups.
I would love, though, because Tampa hasn't done that much. I would love to see Tampa, all these teams retooling and, we got to get the big name player from the West. Tampa's like, we'll get
Tanner Jeannot.
Tanner Jeannot. Right. We'll get Tanner Jeannot, and we're still going to win the cup.
Right. And how fucking insane would that be if Tanner Jeannot winds up getting the game, the cup winning goal this year? And the return that Nashville got was like 3 times what Chicago got. They got Cal Foote, who's a bona fide first pair NHL defenseman, and a second, a third, and a fourth, or second, a third, and a fifth. What a haul. And Patrick Kane didn't get near that.
Well, future Conn Smythe winner, Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah.
Does Matt Harris, I just want Patty McDouchehawk to shatter his hip in the first round like my grandma did back in 93.
Matt Harris is killing it tonight.
Wow, he's bringing the heat. Jeez, that's nasty. So we're talking about the East. Buffalo, they haven't made the playoffs almost since 93. It seems like it. Do they make the playoffs? They got some games in hand. They got Pittsburgh ahead of them and the Islanders ahead of them, but they're 4 points behind the Islanders with 5 games in hand, and they're 3 points behind the Penguins with one game in hand.
They could probably use a large 6'5" defenseman who is great at stick checking, and who wears number 55. That could probably help them a lot.
Rasmus Ristolainen?
That's it.
They traded him to Philly.
Oh, shit. Okay, never mind then.
I think, I don't know. Carolina, no one's talking about Carolina. Really, as far as like doing anything. And they beat the Metro.
They've got cap room, too.
86 points.
Right. They have cap room, and they are down on Max Pacioretty. So
They could probably use an undersized defenseman who has been to Stanley Cup final, who once rocked Robert Thomas.
Yep.
And where's number 47? I mean,
seems
I got
like a good
one
fit.
more that I could do here, guys, if you want to name one more team.
Or we can move on.
Or we could, yes.
Jonathan Quick was traded from the LA Kings along with a 2023 conditional first round pick and a 24 third round pick to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Korpisalo and what's it? Gavrikov.
Yeah,
Vladislav
Gavrikov.
Gavrikov.
he was the guy that like everybody that wasn't in on Chychrun was going for, right? And that to me that when I heard the Chychrun news, I'm like, Bill Armstrong was so intent on trading him to LA, and when LA landed Gavrikov, he's like, just send him to Ottawa, get what we can. It's just that the Chychrun return makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Oh, I agree, 100%. No, this trade, and I know that was actually, if you go back in our chat, because the thing is that LA comes out to me as the winner with this trade, and I'm not just saying because I'm saying just they're wanting to make a playoff run, and they went out and they needed another defenseman, so they got Gavrikov. They got a good backup goalie in Korpisalo in case your starter right now, Phoenix Copley, falls apart, which could happen. You don't know.
Which Jonas Korpisalo, I think, is their starter for game 1 of the playoffs.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I don't think you start Phoenix Copley. He's had a hell of a run. I don't know. Maybe he is the Jordan Bennington of the Kings. But
I think you got to roll with Copley as long as if he falls apart in the next month and a half, then yes, clearly you go to Korpisalo. But right now, game 1, I'm definitely giving it to Copley. He's great.
I don't have Copley's numbers in front of me, but I read something last night from some fans saying that Copley's been struggling lately, like he's out of gas. I that could be completely wrong. It's, social media how it is. But they were saying that so maybe there's something to that as far as him struggling lately, tired, out of gas or something. So,
but anyway, so it's funny to see like that's in terms of NHL contracts, trades. The LA Kings is the story. They got Korpisalo and Gavrikov. But let's face it, the real story. Yeah, the real story is that they're fucking elite, all-time, one of the great. Well, okay, let's face it, the greatest goalie in franchise history just got traded at the end of his career because he basically said, from what I read, he told them he's not retiring at the end of the year. He wants to come back. And they basically said, okay, well, then we're going to trade you. And that's what they did. They moved him to Columbus. And all reports are he's not happy with the trade.
No.
Yeah.
But
that is like when I heard that I was shocked, and the only thing that comes to mind is being put out the pasture, right? He because of his multiple cups, 2 cups, right? They won 2.
Yep.
And played
Kings.
for a third. Yeah. Because of his multiple cups. Yeah, he is the greatest goalie in franchise history. No disrespect to Roger Vachon back in the 70s, before my time even. But yeah, he was the guy that we hated so much here. The team that beat us was in 13, right? Injured Petro, and Jonathan Quick was a god in that series, and our goaltending sucked. Dustin Penner on Brian Elliott?
Oh, and that wasn't just. I'm gonna stop you there. That wasn't just on Brian Elliott. The Blues gave up on that play. They let Penner just skate in and take a shot. Like the entire team just gave up. So
I want to blame Parayko.
Right.
He wasn't even a thing then.
Actually, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong here, correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys remember, I want to say it was David Backes that he skated in. Backes had a chance to just like take the puck from him and just stood there. And then Penner just walked by him and then took a shot. Could be wrong, but yeah. Neither here nor there. Crazy to see Jonathan Quick get traded. And I saw, and it's so funny. I would imagine it would have been similar if the Blues would have traded Pietrangelo rather than let him walk. But I would have, I just want to see, you look at Twitter and Facebook and all the social media channels. The talk wasn't, oh my God, we finally got a defenseman like Gavrikov. We got a great backup in Korpisalo. The conversation was, you guys fuck Johnny Quick. He is the greatest player in franchise history outside of Gretzky, and you fucked him. Fuck you, Kings. Like, their fans were so pissed. And I was just, the fact that took precedence over their team getting better, that blew my mind. And it makes sense, but it still blew my mind.
The Columbus Blue Jackets are reportedly now shopping Quick, or interested in possibly shopping Quick, and Vegas is apparently very interested.
You're telling me the Toronto of the West is interested? I'm shocked. Jesus.
I think Kings fans too, if they saw Quick playing for Vegas, would throw up.
Yeah, can you imagine? Oh my God. They'll be having pitchforks at Rob Blake's door if that happens. You let him go and now he's a Knight. What the fuck?
We mentioned earlier that Chikrin was traded to the Ottawa Senators finally after 2-3 years of speculation of being traded for a conditional first-round pick in 2023, a conditional second round in 23 from Washington, and a second-round pick in 26. Are you surprised
That's
that
underwhelming?
Yeah, are you surprised that he didn't get more? I guess you are. I am.
Yeah, I thought this would have been, give me your first-round pick for the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was what, and a prospect of note. Like, he's the only possible, I don't want to say fully number one defenseman, but the only possible, like, he can step in and maybe be your number one. He's the only one on the market. And the only one that I could remember for, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years.
You know,
when was the last number one defenseman available for trade? Rob Blake?
Mm-hmm.
That far back?
I can't think of anyone since.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Chris Pronger, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Pronger. It didn't happen often.
And again, I'm not saying he is definitely a bona fide number one defenseman in the NHL, but he probably steps into Ottawa outside of maybe Shabbat, but I think still he steps in as a number one defenseman there.
It is the conditional first round pick. Is that lottery protected if they get in the top 10? Is it get pushed next year? That would make sense. If they get a top 10 pick, then it gets pushed back next year or something like that. Because Ottawa's pick might be decent this year. They're, not a playoff team.
They'll be on the outside of the playoffs looking in, but I don't think it's going to be like.
No, I don't think it's going to be great either. But it's not like they're a playoff team. So.
Ken Morris says Ray Bork, but again, I think Pronger was more recent than that. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Shea Weber.
Yeah.
That might be the last one. Ryan Suter. I don't know. Somewhere in that era is my guess. Austin Lynch adds Subban, but I think at the time he was moved from Montreal, it was already well known he wasn't a number one anymore.
I was going to say he's not a number one.
Yeah.
Even though he was paid like one.
Yeah,
he was the top 3 paid defenseman in the NHL, wasn't he, at one point?
Yep.
11 million, something like that a season.
Yep.
That was crazy. I had a conversation on Twitter about speaking of defensemen and number one defenseman when Petro left. Some people were saying, that the reason why he left, the reason why the Blues didn't sign him was because we signed Falk. We traded for Falk. And I was like, well, the reason why Petro left was because he didn't get his buyout proof contract from the Blues. They offered him, they've traded for Falk 1 year, and then the next year they tried to sign Petro, had a contract on the table, 8 years, $8 million per, with a signing bonus and no trade clause for a while, except for the last 2 years, and the contract, something like that. And he turned it down and went to Vegas to talk to them, and that's when Armstrong signed Krug. So I'm curious, and maybe I'm on an island here, but Krug is the reason why we couldn't sign Pietrangelo, because Pietrangelo's money, most of it went to Krug. We had Falk on the roster and still had money to sign Pietrangelo, so I don't think Falk had anything to do with the Blues not signing Pietrangelo, other than the fact that, well, we do have Falk and we can go out and sign Krug, so we're not going to give Pietrangelo the buyout proof contract. That's the only way that Falk ties into this as far as not re-signing Pietrangelo goes. Right?
Falk was kind of the message that when we brought him in, and it was like the head scratcher, and he didn't fit in right away. It was like Armstrong's planning for the future without Pietrangelo. It wasn't a done deal at that point, but it was kind of like, I don't know, like the signal that it could happen. But then
Plan B.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, Falk was on the team, and we had a contract offer to Pietrangelo. So Pietrangelo could have easily accepted the contract to come here, and we'd have both Falk and Pietrangelo on the team, and not Krug. So that's where I was coming from. I was like, well, but yeah, I guess future proofing the team if Pietrangelo does leave, because his agency is such a pain in the ass to deal with. Pietrangelo was not involved in the negotiations at all. He said that he let his agent handle all the negotiations. So Pietrangelo didn't even say, hey, I'll take less, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. No, he let his agency do the work, and they got him the very best deal possible for him, which good for him. Great. It's a great deal for him. But again, I think Krug was
it was more Krug.
Pietrangelo. Well,
I'm with you.
You can't sign Pietrangelo after Krug. You could sign him after Falk, and they tried to.
Well, and I remember the conversation after they signed Krug. Apparently, Armstrong even said, well, Alex still isn't off the table. And I'm sitting there like, weird. The hell he isn't. Like, you don't have any money left, Doug. So, but no, they did. You're right. They had money still reserved after Falk was traded and signed by the Blues. Uh-huh. I'm with you. They plan. I think they really did plan like, well, we got this improvement over Edmondson. We've got a puck mover who can play. And I think at first they thought maybe, even though he's right-handed, maybe he can play with Petro. Maybe he can play with Parayko. But we got a good insurance plan in case Petro leaves. And then when they brought Krug in, that was when it was like, hey, guys, we ain't signing Petro. It's not going to happen.
And Krug was signed after Pietrangelo turned the Blues offer down and went to Vegas to negotiate.
Right.
So Armstrong's like, well, okay, he turned it down. He's testing free agency. And Armstrong may have known what Vegas was going to offer. I don't know. He ended up getting $800,000 more per season in Vegas, plus the buyout proof contract with the signing bonus every year and the no trade clause up until the final season of his contract.
Let me ask you. So light sound geometries in the chat here, and he said a couple things about Krug, and I'll say I have last night especially, I fell into the oh my god, Torrey Krug is fucking terrible. Get him off this team. He made a couple plays last night that just made me shake my head, and I even said on Twitter, this dude does not belong in the NHL. He should be playing in my beer league. Like terrible boneheaded mistakes. But I will say, and we've all said this on the show. Well, I don't know if Bill said it. Bill may have just nodded, but I know Kurt and I have said this on the show that at the time we liked the signing. So let me ask you, Light Sound Geometry. He says here in his YouTube comment, Krug should have never been signed at the time. And I need you to give me an honest answer here, and I won't judge you either way.
I will.
At the time, did you hate the signing, or were you like, okay, I see, we're gonna lose Petro. This is the guy, the only other guy in the market the Blues could possibly get to fill in a little bit in Petro's shoes. What were your
He
thoughts?
hates him. He says he hates him.
There's a delay here. That's probably not his answer to my question.
Well, maybe it is because it was a long. He knew it was coming, I think. But if he wants to respond again to it, but we've talked about it a lot. Krug was the best defenseman available to sign, and the Blues got him. I don't know to not try and fix that. And we've talked about it. I think, and Austin, you want to talk about it? I every one of these moves that the Blues made on defense at the time individually, I was a fan of. Even Scandella, because Scandella played well. Although now just acquiring the player, yes, but I had issues with the term and the conditions of Leddy's contract and Scandella's contract. That was too long, both of them. So that aside,
okay, sorry. Before we get to Austin, Light Sound Geometry, he says yes, hated it. I don't like certain players and teams. So sorry, I'm gonna make you answer again. Are you saying you just didn't like him because he was on the Bruins, or do you not like his style of play? All right. While we wait for
not liking a player is different than saying the player is not very good, even though he struggled this season. And you know what I mean? I mean,
he does also add he happens to be one of them. Talking about players he doesn't like, I'd rather go in a different direction. So again, was it just you didn't like him because he was a Bruin, or you didn't like him, or you didn't like his style of play? What was it that makes you not like Krug? Austin, what are your thoughts?
I mean, Krug was a good signing at the time, and then nobody really expected him to get as injury prone as he did as well. That could also have played a part, and the factor that the way he is playing. I mean, he came off a great 2019. I don't want to say great 2019 playoff run with Boston, but he did. I mean, he was there, and he was noticeable, especially in the Cup final. But I mean, at the time, it was a great signing, losing Petro, and we needed to go out and get another top defenseman, and Krug was out there on the market. So I mean, it was a great signing at the time. I mean, looking back on it now, probably wouldn't have gave him as much as we did, or signed him as long as we did. But I mean,
I think the problem with all of it to me is the fact that we're locked into it with the no trade clauses. That's and I think we can all agree that I mean, getting the players the time, individually at the time it was a good move, and we've talked about it to death. Really, that it just hasn't worked out as a whole, as a unit. But the reason why it's such a big deal now, and everyone's talking about it, is because we can't move on from it because everyone's locked in place here with no trade clauses.
All right, LSG, I will leave you alone now. Bruins player's style of player is what he's saying with Krug. Okay, you didn't like his style? That's fine. I understand that 100%. I'll leave you alone. But thank you for being honest and giving us your opinion.
Jonathan in the chat says, why didn't we give Petro 8 years, $8 million per? That was what we did offer him, according to Strickland.
The movement clause.
Yeah, the no movement clause is what.
No move was.
Well, it was. Yeah, it was no movement clause, and the signing bonus, a substantial signing bonus each season, to make it to where it wouldn't be worth it for them to buy him out. And essentially making that a buyout-proof contract. That's what Vegas gave him, and Armstrong wanted some flexibility with the contract. He doesn't give out buyout-proof contracts. So, and that's the difference. He wanted flexibility at some point later in the the contract to possibly trade Pietrangelo if he needed to. Which, looking at the defense now, we're looking at it like, gosh, I wish we could trade one of these guys, but we can't. But then and granted, Pietrangelo is a different kind of player than the ones that we're talking about. But, people are saying that we should have given Pietrangelo the no movement clause to sign here. If the defense, let's say the defense is terrible and Pietrangelo is just another victim of this poor system, this poor defense, and we can't trade him either because of the no trade clause that he has. So it's just yes, he probably is much better than what we have, but if he wasn't,
well, and I think the hypocrisy,
we're stuck still with him.
The hypocrisy comes in with, okay, yes, you didn't give Petro the no move clause, which we all agreed at the time. Good call. You want flexibility. But then you go out and you give 4 no trade clauses. To me, I'd rather, and this is in hindsight, because at the time I agreed, I would rather give Petro a no movement clause than hand out 4 long-term no trade clauses. That was the mistake Doug made. And again, hindsight's 20/20. But
I agree.
That's the issue right now.
I agree. And John says, do you think Vegas will regret Petro's contract? Maybe the last couple of years of it. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
I'd say if they don't win a cup, they definitely regret it.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, the first year he was there, he wasn't great. He took a step back. So he wasn't that number 1 defenseman that they signed. I think he's played better since.
Yeah,
but
do you remember Kyrou walking him as a rookie?
Oh, that was amazing.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Such a great moment.
Oh my God, it's a shame that things haven't done this, gone that same direction for us since.
Yeah, well, at least not this year.
Light Sound Geometry is a Rosen fan. So am I. He should be playing. I agree.
We all are.
He should be.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that. Austin, you had some comments you wanted to make on Petro.
Yeah, with Petro, I mean, also giving him that 8-year deal. I mean, he was 31 when he got his contract from Vegas when he was a free agent. So in hindsight, giving him that 8-year, $8 million deal, he's gonna be 39 at the end of his contract, and he's gonna downgrade at some point. So realistically, giving him that and the full no trade clause, then trying to get rid of him when he's about 36 or so, if he's starting to downgrade, we want to try and get something for him before he goes full shit. Then also, then you're just losing out on that, if that makes sense.
Well, they can't. They can't trade him. If he doesn't want to move, they can't trade him. They can't buy him out. They can't do anything. They're stuck with him. Vegas.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, now if Petro wants to leave, that's a different story. But if he doesn't want to leave, they can't do anything about it.
Something tells me he's not going to want to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he would. I mean, it's just
if you sign a no movement clause, to me, I feel like you're just like, I'm literally not going to go anywhere throughout the duration of this contract, so don't even ask.
Here's the deal, too, though, with wanting a buyout-proof contract. How many times have we bought out a contract? How many times have we? Once?
Jay McKee and Dallas Drake.
Twice. So it's like it doesn't happen. I mean, not if you're worried about that happening, I mean, it's not a big concern. And if it is, just play well. Don't make the team not want to get rid of you. So I don't know. I understand. I said this before. I understand why Armstrong didn't offer him what Vegas did. I wish he had, but I understand why he didn't. And I'm not criticizing him for that. Should he have, in hindsight, based on how our defense is now? Probably. Yeah. But I understand why he didn't. I get it. Now, if he does eventually give in to somebody and give them a buyout-proof contract, then you're going to be like, wow, you didn't stick to your guns.
Yeah. But at this point, it's like he learned his lesson.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
And that's I would almost want that, right? If we had that player that deserved it, right now, I don't think there's a player on this team that I give it to, but say we get some steal of a pick this year in the draft, and a couple years from now, they get through their entry-level deal. Armstrong's still the GM. give him the full no move, right? I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that's backtracking. I think that's showing growth. He learned his lesson, but everything will have changed by then anyway. So who knows if it matters?
John wants to know what's the point of buying someone out if you want to move on from their contract, get rid of them.
Yeah, it's just a matter of basically instead of having the cap hit and the total amount dollars, you're spending is it 3/4 of the contract?
It's spread out. What is it?
And then you're spreading the cap hit out double the years.
I think so. It's you still have the cap hit, but it's a lot less. And you have to you pay that player. You have that cap hit for double the years of length of the contract left on the contract. And then you would have more money to bring in somebody else. It happened with Jay McKee, it happened with Dallas Drake, right? Those are the two players that.
Well, and let's face it, there are some people who I've seen over the years ask for buyouts for certain players who are on long term. The issue is, let's say with Parayko, at the end of this year, they were like, let's buy him out. Why not? So you're looking at he has 7 years left on his contract.
14 years.
14 years that you're still paying a cap, and it'd be a half of his current contract. So that would be 3.75. So that's going to sit on your cap for 14 years. And yes, dollar amount, you're paying him 3/4 of his contract overall. So there are nice ways you can do that. If you have 1 year left on a player, okay, he's got $5 million left. Let's do that. That'll spread it out to 2 years and 2.5 on the cap for the next 2 years. That kind of situation, okay, that's not a big deal. With some of these defensemen, all of these defensemen, you just cannot do it. It doesn't make sense to do it. Because you want to look up a bad buyout, look up Rick DiPietro.
Yeah.
That was a bad contract and a bad buyout.
He's still getting paid.
I think so.
By the Rangers.
No, Islanders.
Islanders.
The other New York team.
Yeah, New York in the brain. So
that 5 annually through the 2028-2029 season.
There was somebody who wanted to buy out Parayko during the first year of his contract. Like legit,
imagine
they wanted to buy him up, and I'm like, you can't. Why would? First off, that just tells me you don't understand the financial standing of this franchise. We're not overly. We spend to the cap, but we don't have the richest owners in the league to just throw money away over 14 years on a player. That's not that the St. Louis Blues would never ever do that. They'd never buy out somebody with that much term left ever.
Yeah,
no way, no chance.
It's not going to happen. And can you imagine how bad? Let's just say we talked about how Armstrong, he's going to leave on his terms, right? We all kind of agree with that. When he's ready to step down, he's going to step down. It's not going to be Stillman firing him. I feel like if Armstrong went into Tom Stillman's office and was like, hey, I know it's year 1 of Parayko's extension I signed him to, but I'm going to buy him out at the end of the year. What do you think? I think Stillman goes, get the fuck out. You're fired.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, you're essentially, you as a GM, you cost your owner a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you're paying a guy you're going to be paying him for years after he's retired. So I get wanting to move on from certain defensemen, but people got to live in reality too, as far as what's possible and not possible. And like we said all season long, the no trade clauses it's a roadblock. It's a bottleneck for this defense. We're probably stuck with this defense unless someone waives a no trade clause. So
the only one that, and I 100% don't think it'll happen, maybe Nick Leddy, because he does have less term.
Buyout, you mean, or waive?
Still buyout.
Oof,
I still don't see that happening though. Because it was what, a 5-year deal? So we're talking 4 years left.
He's just
8
Scandella
years and a buyout. What?
Scandella probably getting bought out before.
Scandella, yeah, maybe
Letty.
Scandella, but I don't know.
Speaking of defensemen, Jake Wallman signed a 3-year, $3.4 million extension in Detroit, who we traded to get one of the part of the package to get Letty. The interesting, he got a modified no trade clause, a 10-team no trade list, compared to Letty's full no trade clause. And I said this at the time. I'm not, this is not, me just saying this. I liked Wallman when he was here. I wanted to see I like Rosen. I want to see Rosen get more playing time. I want to see Wallman get more playing time. I don't think he was given enough playing time. Wasn't given enough of a look here, and maybe he would not have thrived in this system. But it looks really bad when he thrives in Detroit's system, and they like him. They signed him for 3 years, $3.4 million, and he's playing well. And we moved him to get a defenseman that is not playing as well.
Well, and I'll say money. I liked the trade, and I still do, because I think Letty made this team better last year.
I do too.
But when the extension comes, when it was okay, let's re-sign Nick Letty, and then we see Jake Wallman sign a 3-year deal that is cheaper than Letty and having a better season in Detroit. That is where it's like, okay, by comparison, that's an awful trade, and it's unfortunate to say that.
Well, it boils down to what we've always said about Armstrong, is that he has a tendency to make great trades, but his issue is contract extensions.
Yeah,
he gives people too long, too much, with no trade clauses apparently. Wallman didn't get a full no trade clause even in Detroit, but Letty did here. So all kinds of things, like hindsight being 2020. I get it. Looking back on it, it's kind of a douchey thing to do and complain about it. But I'm sorry. I liked Wallman when he was here, and I would have loved to have seen him stay. Now, like we talked about, I did like the Letty acquisition. I thought it was a fine acquisition, but it was the extension that screwed us.
Yes. Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen Wallman stick around too. I liked the trade again because at the time it made the Blues better. But losing Wallman, I even said then, I'm like, that might come back to bite us. We might see him have a pretty good career in the NHL. And I just wasn't expecting him to have such a good season the next year. That and does that not speak? And maybe I'm reading too much into this. Wallman's playing very well in Detroit. He was okay here. Can we talk about how maybe that's a defensive coach problem? Right?
It's gonna be a long summer, boys.
It seems like it's common sense to me. Somebody makes sense of this to me. Why Van Ryn is still here, and why this defensive system is still.
It makes sense right now because the organization as a whole wants to lose, but if he's here next year, that's an issue.
Well, no. Well, okay, it makes sense right now, but it didn't make sense 3 months ago.
No, I agree.
3 months ago,
it didn't make sense 1 month ago.
Yeah,
because this team was still kind of maybe a playoff team. Now it's, let's have a shitty coach back there so we can lose games.
Yeah, you generally don't see those changes made in season, and it better happen this offseason.
What do you think the odds are that we move on from Van Ryn in the offseason?
If Van Ryn's still here going into next season,
don't buy season tickets then.
I honestly have no idea what I'll do. I will be very, very disappointed.
I'll be confused.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I think I'd be like,
you can't move the players. You got to do something. You have to do something.
I think I'll be like a parent. Like, okay, I'm not mad at you, but I'm really disappointed in you. Like, what
somebody asked in the chat how many years the Blues are going to be bad before they turn things around, And I think I mentioned this on the show that when we talked about this a little bit. I said I got to see what they're going to do first. This team as it stands right now is not going to be the team we see in start the next season. There's going to be moves made in the off season. We're going to draft some players, make some moves, trades, whatever. I can see us having a pretty substantial, different looking team, except for the defenseman we can't move.
I want to see a big overhaul in the coaching bench, and this might be the first. He pretty much, and I've heard David Alexander's great, so I don't want to away the goalie coach, but I think I want all assistant coaches gone, except him. Berube, usually I'm asking for the head coach. I don't have a problem with Berube, but I think I might be done with McTavish already. He clearly did not provide anything this team needed.
What's he doing now? Because he was relieved of his duties.
Yeah, very early, like November.
On the PK, yeah. He was.
Yeah. So I'd like to see him gone because that just seems pointless to have him back there.
Yeah.
I know the guys like Steve Ott, but I've questioned this since he's been here. What does he really do?
Power play.
And Mike Van Ryn, and the power play's been shit. So
yeah, a lot of things been shit this year. I think.
Yeah.
Last year was really good.
Mike Van Ryn, especially, get the hell out of here. What are you still doing? Why do you still have a job?
Yeah. What? Yeah. I mean, how many times can we say it? Right? He just needs to. I don't understand why he still has a job here. And this offseason should be fun. It should be fun.
It'll be interesting for sure.
Yes. Friday is a trade deadline, so hey, let's have some fun on Friday. Maybe the Armstrong does something, trades a first rounder or two for something. Yeah, light sound geometry is I'm with you on the coaches. That's
yeah.
And
one thing we did not mention tonight, Kurt, we're talking about the Blackhawks.
I was just going to mention that.
Taves.
I was just going to mention that.
Jonathan Taves will not be traded.
Mm-hmm.
Who said that was going to happen?
Are you going to take credit for you falling bass backwards into that prediction?
I'll go ahead and say I fell bass backwards into it. It still fucking happened. He's not getting traded.
Yeah, not because of the reasons you stated. You said he was going to be terrible.
He still didn't get traded.
He would have been traded if he wasn't suffering from long COVID.
Am I right or am I right, Bill? Did he get traded? Is he going to get traded?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
If you want to take credit for that, you go right ahead.
I will. I'm going to take credit for it.
That is not that was not our discussion.
It doesn't matter. He still didn't get traded. That was the whole discussion was about if he was going to get traded, and he didn't.
Right,
so,
and the assumption was that he wouldn't be fucking not playing because he was suffering long COVID.
Is that what it is, or is it just he wouldn't get traded? I believe that's all I said. He wouldn't get traded.
No, let's roll the tape. Boston. He's like, what? I don't... maybe there were more specifics said. I don't know. I can't recall.
No, that was it. That was all it was.
Okay. Well, no. You are correct that he will not be traded. But
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for admitting that. And I'll say I was wrong.
But because you said he was terrible.
He is terrible.
You said no. He would have.
Terrible.
All right.
Say, Kurt. I need you to say I was wrong.
You saying all these people that get traded? No, I was not wrong because I no. I'm not gonna no. No.
All right. Have you ever said that phrase before? I was wrong. Have you ever said that?
Sure. Yeah. I had thought I made a mistake once, but I was wrong. I saw the gears turning for about 2 seconds there.
That's pretty good. I'm about to use that sometime. That was pretty good.
You like it?
Well, I think we're getting ready to wrap up here, guys. So I just want to emphasize again, myself and producer Austin, at the very least, on Friday, we'll have a show at 2 p.m. live on Friday if the Blues do anything else. So be ready for that. But even if they don't, join us in Discord before that. Probably I got a dentist appointment at 11, which is going to be awful. But after that, about 12:30 or so, I was going to jump in Discord. So let's go blues.com/Discord.
Yeah. letsgoblues.com/Discord. I'll be around. I might jump in for a few minutes. We'll see what my schedule's like that day. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockandthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockandthatidlife, and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockandthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you, and by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokers Realty. Visit strikewithmike.com today for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's strikewithmike.com. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's tasty hockey-themed beer. Check out your local beer vendors for availability. That's Center Ice Brewery beer. Please drink responsibly. That will wrap up episode 25 of season 11 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder, Bill Day, and producer Austin Lynch, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's have some fun on Friday. Make a trade or two. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues. Trade Parayko, Letty, Falk, and the other guy. Who am I missing?
Krug.
Krug. Thank you.
CITY City, City, City.
Let's go Blues. Let's go Cardinals.
Ooh.